To the book because a lady that I thought was really cool, she was like at a museum, she was eating cauliflower salad, she was drinking white wine after she had like a session with a glass blower where they basically make glasses and XYZ, and she recommended this book to me. I'm so glad she did. It's kind of an old book, which I found interesting because I was like, I never really heard of it before. It's because it's older. It really does depend on the crowd you hang around with, which I found very interesting. That has different book recommendations and different attitudes. That's one thing that I have realized in life. If the people around you are not growing you and just want you to stay stuck and repeat the same basic level, but you know there's a lot more in life, it's time to move on to bigger ponds. And if you don't know where to begin, go to where you think they are. For example, go to affluent places and buy a coffee and speak to the person next to you. I know if some of you have social anxiety, probably not the best for you. They know how to network. They know how to, you know, talk. They know how to present themselves, and they know how to do things. The only thing I recommend is dress to impress. It doesn't have to be too impressive. It can just be just a blazer, jeans, and a nice t-shirt. That's what it is. Just simple but clean. In this book, it's not really a finance book. It's more like a worth, like your inner worth book that really tells you, like, if you don't believe that you are worthy of that money, you're telling the universe that you don't deserve it and it won't give it to you. But if you do believe you are worthy of that money, the universe will give it to you, but you have to act upon it. So one of the things that came out to me is, number one, tally your excuses. So what is the tally of your excuses from getting what you do want out of life, which actually hit home for me. And B is buried frozen vegetables. So what that actually means is money in low interest bank accounts. It's instead of just it sitting there, why don't you grow it? And it does make a lot of sense, because why would you bury frozen vegetables when you can just eat it right now? Your money is your worth, and whatever you believe it is, it's that. This book, it focuses on women specifically. Being a woman is what happens if you do get married, you have to stay at home, and yet you can't make any money, you're financially reliant on the person, and what happens if it goes south and he'll just throw you away. So it just talks about who is holding your purse strings. So, and you have to be wise about it, and you are worthy of like asking who is holding your purse strings or your purse straps, aka your parents, your partner, your boss, your bills, your mortgage, XYZ. Once you start figuring out who is holding what, then you're able to understand, like, oh, okay, how do I get myself more independence? And you are rightfully worthy of that. This is the part that really stood out for me, is that when you see another woman succeed in life, don't get jealous, because you have no idea how hard that woman worked to get to where she is right now. And instead of feeling like envious, use that jealousy as a sign to say, oh, it is time for you to, you know, put in more effort into things. Because we may desire, like, we may feel jealous of another person, but that's only a sign of like, oh, that is your voice inside of you saying, oh, you could do that if you sacrificed and be more disciplined to do XYZ. So never take things from another woman, or like, you know, feeling like jealousy and stuff. Use that as a inspiration and a tool of like, oh, if she can do it, so can I do it. And with money is abundant, it is wealth, it is a frequency. So when you're dealing with it, you cannot have a scarcity mindset, you have to have an abundant mindset, because if you operate out of scarcity, the universe will reflect that. But if you operate out of abundance, it will reflect that. So you have to act the certain ways of how you are worthy. So if you say, I am worthy of a just a normal lifestyle where you're not like drowning, you're not paying to paycheck, that is, you are worthy of that. But if you're thinking that you're not worthy of it, life will reflect that. But within saying that, having a scarcity mindset and having an abundant mindset, understandable for a period of time to save and hustle. But when you do reach that kind of threshold, you need to actually start thinking of like, I get my money to work for me and not work for money, because money at the end of the day, it is time. So once you're like, knowledge is power, time is money. It doesn't mean you like, oh, you want to be the next billionaire. It just means you know your worth. And like, every woman should know their worth as well, and they should not settle for it. Another thing that I realized too is like, that we were told young, saying like, the rich are bad people, or like, you're meant to struggle XYZ, and you know, just save your money. They're all good intentioned, but the end result is not happy. Because for that person that says, oh, all rich people are miserable, they're not happy. They want to be that rich person. Is just they don't want to put in the time, the discipline, and the sacrifice. And that is something you have to realize that. So I love Worthy, read Worthy if you're a woman, and empower the women in your life as well. And you start operating at that level of abundance and much to go around. You can't feel jealousy or disappointment for another woman. You can only feel happiness, because if that person can do it, you can do it too. Book of March I want to talk about, it is Big Magic, Creative Living Beyond Fear by Elizabeth Gilbert. In that book, it talks about, oh, if you hear that little whisper in your life, it like inspiration, she kind of described them as sentient creatures that want to come into the world, and you need to create that. And it also talks about like, you don't do it now, it will go to the next person, which is okay. I mean, great minds think alike all the time, and you should not be envious or jealous or, you know, cranky that the next person had the exact same ideas, because in reality, everything is an inspiration of an inspiration of an inspiration. And if we all say, oh, you can't do that, you can't do that, I already did that, then the world will not, like, will stop. For example, look at William Shakespeare. He was not the first to create his tropes, he's just the one who made it popular. And instead of thinking it, of saying like, oh, I did first, ask yourself, how do you make it, like, what do you actually want? Do you want to like be the first one to create it, or do you want to be the person that is associated to it? So never, like, don't stress too much, everything, don't take life too seriously. And another thing from Big Magic is it talks about, because it focuses on writers, because she is a writer, and she talks about a lot of writers believe that they need to be in pain when they write, which is understandable, because there are so many books out there that you read and you're like, oh, there's a theme happening with these people. And a lot of, like, apparently a lot of writers, they believe that if they heal themselves, they are not worthy of the stories they produce. And I think I fell into that trap at one point, but after reading that book, it made me feel a lot more at ease, because instead of thinking of it like I need to be in pain, it says, why are you in an abusive relationship with yourself? Writing should be, you know, joyful. It should be just come from the heart, which I actually thought was like very, he's onto something. She also talks about, if you love something, don't make it 9 to 5, like don't make it work, because then your passion will die for it. I mean, each like industry, it is different, but if you just like, if you have a passion for it, try to keep the magic alive as much as you can, because a lot of people who do make their passion a project, they sooner or later become resenting of it. And I thought that was like, oh, that's very inspirational.